Hey guys, Ashley Chandler here. I wanted to tackle a short video on why I'm a PT. Um, it's the cliched answer of I wanted to help people. And I know that's a cliche now, but it's true. I love to help people through movement dysfunction. I came from a really active background. I grew up being a gymnast. I latched onto the idea of being a PT when I was in high school. I don't remember how exactly I found it. We had a career day, I think it was 10th or 11th grade in my high school, and I chose to shadow a PT. So I go to the local hospital, and my first PT that I shadowed was a wound care PT. We had the big silver baths and whirlpools and all of this mess, and I went, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this at all. The next day I went back, I got to spend some time with a stroke rehab physical therapist in the inpatient setting. I was like, okay, this is what I'm talking about. This is pretty cool stuff. So I continued on through all of my training with the goal of PT, and I never really looked back, except for once after I had struggled through another physics test, and I called my mom saying, I can't do this, I can't be a PT, I'm going to have to find something else to do as a senior in college. I got over that, figured out that I could do it, and I could get into PT school. So I wanted to be able to help people. I initially thought I wanted to stay in inpatient stroke. I just loved that. My granddad was not a healthy man, and he had numerous strokes through my childhood, and I watched him disappear with each stroke. And then he would go to rehab. He'd work with his team of PT, OT, and speech, and before I knew it, in little girl world, my grandpa was back, and he was playing with me and sharing peanut butter and banana sandwiches and splitting an orange with me for our afternoon snack to totally ruin dinner. So I went to PT school with that idea. I was going to be an inpatient stroke PT, and I started my rotation in a hospital setting where I could work with that population. And then things changed, and I had at that point been married to my longtime boyfriend, and he was military, so we had to move to Arizona. So off we go to Arizona, and the only place really to work out there was an outpatient ortho clinic. So cue my absolute panic going out to an outpatient ortho clinic. And it was great. I learned a lot. I emailed and texted and called Lacey Kells a ton to say, whoa, what do I do with this? I'm not sure what to do. And it was while I was out there that I really had my first brush with cancer. And my clinic owner and the only other PT at the clinic I was working in, this tiny little town in Arizona, went out on medical leave about 3 weeks after I had started working there. It turned out that she had pancreatic cancer. She didn't come back to practice the whole time I lived out there for that year. She had multiple surgeries, chemo. It was not a good year. And I saw firsthand how cancer is an equal opportunity bitch. It doesn't care if you're healthy and you could hike a freaking mountain like Dinah did on weekends just for kicks. She ate the cleanest diet you could imagine, and yet she gets cancer and ultimately passed away from her cancer. I didn't really bring that connection into my PT practice at that time, other than just like, holy goodness, this is crazy. So as the military goes, we spent a year out there, and then off we were to a new place. We went to Tennessee, and I worked in an outpatient ortho clinic again and started a yoga class because I loved yoga. So my class was just a garden variety yoga class, but a lot of the women that ended up coming were cancer survivors, and they found that they could move much freer from yoga. It's like, okay, cool, this is kind of awesome. Like, I could make a difference in these people's lives. That's pretty great. I was starting to work with that company to consider building some kind of a cancer rehab program when military said, nope, sorry, you guys are going somewhere else. So we moved back to Fayetteville, North Carolina to work so I could work at Advanced Physical Therapy Solutions. I had been talking to Laura for years and had been talking to Lacey about how amazing it was to work at APTS, and I wanted a chance at that. So we came to Fayetteville, back to Fayetteville, and settled in. And then shortly after I arrived at APTS, my boss was diagnosed. So my dad, in his innate and overabundance of humor, likes to point out that I am the common thread there, and it is my fault. So nobody wants to hire me. But I got to see another amazing woman that I knew and respected fight cancer. And that's when I started to make the connection between PT and oncology and what PTs can do and help with in the oncology world. And I was hooked. I thought it was super cool. So when Laura started to read everything that she could, because that's what she does, and she's too smart for her own good, and was thinking about building an oncology program within APTS, I was like, ooh, sign me up. I want to help out with that. And that's where we are. So I love to read about things relating to oncology. I love to find the latest literature. I love to talk about it. I love to try and make people who are in a hard part of their life, I think that PT can make it better. We can make you move better. We can make you feel better. We can spend a little bit of time explaining things to you, maybe more so than your medical oncology team has time for. They are busy doing the hard work. They are beating cancer for you, and they do a good job at it. They don't necessarily have the time to discuss with you, hey, it's hard for me to pull my shirt on, and that's a big deal. We can help with that in PT. So I have just thought it has been fascinating, and I don't see myself ever not working with this population. I feel selfish in that I feel like I get a lot out of working with the population. I love the conversations that I get to have with my patients, and I just feel lucky that has kind of, my career has ended up here, even though I had no plans whatsoever to end up here. You just never know where life will take you. So that's a little bit about me and my PT practice and why I initially chose to become a PT and where my career has taken me. Have graduated 9 years ago in a couple months, which has flown by absolutely. So I hope this was some interesting stuff. Ask me questions. I'm going to just share a little bit of information in this little spot on the internet for you guys, and let me know what you would like to hear more about or learn more about, and I will do my best to provide it for you guys. So signing off for now.